Right now, the United Kingdom is at a total standstill. At 8:15 p.m. London time, on what was supposed to be a standard BBC political debate show, the two most divisive figures in modern Britain have just clashed, live in an unscripted, unprecedented, and catastrophic confrontation. Prince Harry and Nigel Farage. This is not a report. This is not a summary. This is happening right now. The broadcast has descended into chaos. The studio feed is cutting in and out. Phones are ringing off the hook at every news desk in the country, including ours. The nation is instantly and violently divided. This is the showdown everyone predicted, but no one believed would ever happen, and it is worse than anyone could have imagined. The next 48 hours will not just divide the UK, it will force every single person in this country to choose a side. To understand this explosion, you must understand the setup. It was a trap. Prince Harry is in the UK for the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games. His security has been a major story. His schedule kept top secret. At 7 p.m. tonight, the BBC announced a very special last-minute guest for its flagship debate special, Britain at a Crossroads. The media assumed it would be a cabinet minister, a shadow minister. At 8:05 p.m., the host, looking nervous, introduced him. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. He was there, in studio, not via satellite, in the flesh. A shocking move. He was there to talk about service and national unity. The other guest, already on the panel, Nigel Farage. The producers had, in a move of unbelievable audacity, staged a live ambush. You could see the shock on Harry's face. He was trapped. The lights were on, the cameras were live. He could not leave. The first 15 minutes were painfully tense. The host acted as a buffer, asking them separate questions about the economy, about the NHS. Farage was quiet, smirking, waiting. Harry was guarded, sticking to his prepared notes about compassion and healing a divided nation. The host made the fatal error. At 8:15 p.m., she turned to Farage and asked, "Mr. Farage, the prince speaks of a divided nation. You've been accused of being the primary cause of that division. How do you respond?" Nigel Farage leaned into his microphone, and the mask came off. "Well," he said, that familiar cutting voice silencing the studio, "I find it fascinating, truly fascinating, to be lectured on division by the single most divisive figure in this country." The host tried to interrupt. "Now, Mr. Farage, that is not..." Farage ignored her. He turned physically in his chair to face the prince. "Your Royal Highness," he said, dripping with sarcastic respect, "you talk about a divided nation. Sir, you fled the nation. You left. You abandoned your post, you abandoned your family, and you abandoned the British people." Prince Harry went pale. He was visibly, physically shocked. "How dare you?" Harry began, his voice shaking with rage. "You know nothing of my service. You know nothing of my family. You sit there and peddle hate." Farage cut him off. "I peddle truth. The truth the British people see. They see a man who took millions from the taxpayer and then ran off to California to preach to us about how we should live, how we should think. This is not about money," Harry shot back, his voice rising. "This is about an extremist, toxic media. A media that you fuel, that you empower, that hounded my wife, that hounded my mother." "Oh, here we go," Farage boomed, throwing his hands up. "Here we go. When all else fails, invoke the tragic memory of your mother." "You are not your mother, sir." "You are a man who sold his birthright for a Netflix deal." The studio went into meltdown. "Shame," shouted someone from the audience. "He's right," shouted another. The host had lost all control. "Order, order! We must..." 8:23 p.m., Prince Harry stood up. He was trembling. I will not sit here and listen to this man, this grifter, who has built a career on poisoning the public discourse, who has zero understanding of what my wife and I went through." Farage stood up to meet him. "What you went through? You live in a $14 million mansion in Montecito. What about the British people? What about the veterans you supposedly represent, who can't pay their heating bills? You are the definition of the global out-of-touch elite. You know nothing about service," Harry roared. "You've done nothing but divide. You are everything that is wrong with this country." Farage just smiled, a cold, devastating smile, and that's when he delivered the killing blow. "Sir," Farage said, his voice dropping to a whisper, "I may not have served in your army, but I have never once betrayed my country. Can you say the same?" 8:25 p.m. Silence. Dead, cold silence. Harry looked broken. He stared at Farage. He didn't have an answer. He looked at the host. He looked at the camera, and then he unclipped his microphone. He threw it on the chair, and he walked off the set. He walked off. The cameras followed him, running out of the studio. Shoving his security detail out of the way, Farage was left standing alone, center stage. He straightened his tie, looked into the main camera, and gave a single, slow, triumphant nod. The broadcast feed immediately cut to black. Text on screen, "We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by as 8:30 p.m. The feed is still dead. The nation is in shock. The fallout is instantaneous. And it is total. The UK has just split in two. Team Harry is exploding. They are calling it a disgusting ambush. Farage is a national disgrace. Harry was right to walk out. The BBC must be investigated. Team Farage is triumphant. He's done it. Farage just spoke for 60 million people. The prince who ran, he can't take the truth. King Nigel, this is no longer a debate. It is a full-blown culture war, ignited live in front of millions. 45 p.m. The first political reaction. A senior Tory MP posts, "While I do not condone the setup, Mr. Farage, ask the questions the British public have been screaming for 3 years." A Labour frontbencher posts, "This was a grotesque, cruel, and unprofessional display. The BBC has brought shame upon itself. Our thoughts are with the Duke of Sussex. The country is paralyzed. You can almost feel the ground shaking." PM. The first twist. The feed. Why did it really cut? A source, inside the BBC production truck, has just leaked. The feed didn't fail. There was an order. From a very senior executive. The second Harry stood up, the order was given, "Pull it. Pull it now." It was a panic move. A desperate, terrified attempt to protect the prince, to manage the situation. But it backfired, catastrophically. By cutting the feed, they didn't save Harry. They martyred Farage. They made it look like the establishment was silencing the truth teller. They handed Nigel Farage his single greatest propaganda victory. The feed cut was the story. It proved his point. Turning PM. The UK is now openly dividing. We are getting reports of arguments in pubs, of minor scuffles breaking out as Team Harry and Team Farage collide in the real world. The government has called an emergency Cobra meeting, not for a terror threat, but for a debate show. This is how divided we are, but the story is not what it seems. 11 p.m. The second twist, who planned? This was too perfect, too chaotic. This was not a BBC decision. They are too cautious, too bureaucratic. A new leak. From a source inside number 10 Downing Street, this was a government operation. A high-level advisor, a spin doctor, hates Nigel Farage. He sees him as a threat to the Tory party. He convinced Harry to do the interview. He promised him it was a softball event, a chance to talk about unity. He arranged for Farage to be on the panel. The plan? To destroy Farage. The plan was to have Harry, with his royal status, his military service, his compassion, publicly execute Farage to end him. It just backfired. It was the single greatest political miscalculation in modern history. The government didn't just fail to kill their rival. They created a king. Minute ago, a new photo, it has just been posted by an anonymous X account. It is a grainy photo from last night outside a private Mayfair club. It shows Nigel Farage getting into a car. He is shaking hands with a man who is not a politician, a man who is a senior advisor to Buckingham Palace. King's man, the car. He gets into is registered to the palace. This wasn't a government setup. Was this a palace setup? Did the king or Prince William sanction this? Did they use Farage to publicly silence Prince Harry once and for all? Did the royal family just execute its own rogue prince live on television? The country is divided, but who really holds the knife? We are getting live updates. Stay tuned.